Hi, welcome back to Shreology. I hope you all are doing well. But today's video for some people isn't going to leave them well in case you're going to finish it. So, here's me talking about the current movement that has gone far too controversial than it should have because obviously देश में और भी ज़रूरी मुद्दे हैं, but let's keep that aside because when has our nation focused on the things that are more important? Well, I'll today be talking about why I support the Proud R movement and why you should too. So, you know that there are some words that don't just hurt, they scar you. Not because the word itself has the power, but because patriarchy has drilled that power into us ever since we were children. And today, I want to speak about one of those words. A word that has been thrown at women for generations, casually, violently, jokingly, threateningly. A word that people say it destroys culture but have no problem using it behind closed doors until women finally decide to take that power back. This video is about Proud R trend and why I fully and fiercely support it. So, the first time a child hears this word, something breaks in them forever. I want you to imagine a 10 or 5-year-old girl, she's just walking home from tuition or playing in her lane. Suddenly, an older boy, an uncle or a stranger or anybody around throws that word around her. Randy. And she freezes. She doesn't know what it means, but she knows that it's bad because everyone around her reacts as if she has done something wrong. The first moment, the first time, that is what shatters the child. It confuses her, it humiliates her, it roots itself deep in her body as if it's a shame without her even knowing why. What for? This is not because the word is inherently destructive, but it's because patriarchy has made it so. A system where women's worth is tied to purity, and any derivation or be it real or imaginary is punished with one slur. The word becomes a weapon, a memory, a lifelong wound. They grow up, but the wound grows with us. And I know this because I carry that wound too. When I was barely 17 or 18, somebody extremely close to me, someone I trusted, used that word for me. Not in anger, not in fight, just casually. For them, I mean, it might have been offensive that moment, but for me, that wasn't that needed in that moment. They just said it and forgot it, like it didn't matter, like my dignity was disposable, as if addressing me that way costed him nothing. And you know what? It has stayed with me all these years, right here in the chest, in the throat, in the memory. It kills me every day because it showed me how easily men use this word, how comfortably, how light it is for them, and how heavy it is for us. And today, when women choose to own that word, to reclaim the word, to define it in their way, people suddenly say ये तो गलत ट्रेंड है, कल्चर खराब हो रहा है, सोसाइटी का moral fabric ही गिर गया है. Really? When a man uses it so casually, why is it normal? And when a woman decides to reclaim it, suddenly it's a matter of moral emergency. Decades of men using this word freely. No FIRs, no outrage, no moral panic. For all these years, the word has been thrown at girls, women, teenagers, mothers, working women, students, by uncles, strangers, cousins, by men on motorcycles, by boys on Instagram, in comments, everyone, everywhere. Did anyone file an FIR then? Did anyone protest? Did anyone say this is ruining society? Did anyone say stop using such vulgar slurs? No. Women were left to deal with this trauma all alone. But today, when a woman uses the word to dilute its power, suddenly FIRs are being filed. Where was all this? Sudden savior syndrome when real women were being verbally abused. Where was it when the little girls who kept crying without even understanding what they were called? Where was it men used the word as a joke, as a threat, as if it was a casual insult? This outrage is not about morality, it's about control. For generations, society has told women stay silent, don't talk about it, ignore it, do not create a fuss around it, maintain your dignity, show grace. And now, when women finally decide to deal with it, to deal with the hurt in their own way, on their own terms, suddenly society has a problem. When we cry, they say we are weak. When we speak, they say we are loud. When we reclaim, they say we are vulgar. Basically, the message is simple. Women must suffer, but not challenge that freaking suffering. They must feel hurt, but never heal the problems. And that is the exact mindset which we need to break. The proud art trend isn't about being vulgar, it's about the shock value it brings. It's about the attention, the breaking of cycle. Because the harsh reality is, even today, a old girl, when hears that word at some point after growing up, when someone throws at her, someone will want her to feel small about herself, and I don't want that child to feel that kind of lifelong trauma that I live with, the kind that resurfaces every single time someone uses that word, even if it's not dedicated at me, not thrown at me. It took me 4 to 5 years to gather the courage to speak about it, to say this out loud. If owning the word, normalizing it, diffusing its weight even a little can prevent one girl from feeling what I felt, I swear it's worth it. Because language only has power when fear is attached to it, when stigma clings to it, when silence surrounds it. Once a woman starts owning the word, even ironically, the impact will either normalize or dilute it or force men to think twice before using it as a weapon. Either ways, the next generation definitely wins. Well, I just don't stop at this. I'll also give you some grounded arguments to reinforce the movement. Linguistic reclamation works. Across history, many slurs have lost their stink because marginalized groups have reclaimed them. The power structure flips when the word becomes a badge of rebellion and not shame. Secondly, patriarchal language has social consequences. Slurs like this are not just words, they are tools for controlling women, their autonomy, mobility, and sexuality. Reclaiming that too challenges the system that created it in the first place. Thirdly, morality, which is selectively applied. Indian society tolerates men using a word every day, online or offline, but panics when a woman uses it. That is hypocrisy, and that exposes misogyny more than the trend does. Fourthly, reclamation is not glorification. Reclaiming a slur is not the same as endorsing its literal meaning. It is an act of cultural resistance, a linguistic strategy that de-weaponizes an insult. Fifth, policing women's language is policing women's power. Whenever a woman finds new ways to express herself, patriarchy tries to shut it down. Clothes, job, education, relationship, and now language. Sixth, this trend opens a larger conversation. For the first time, mainstream India is actually discussing verbal abuse, misogynistic slurs, gender trauma, double standards, and any conversation that exposes patriarchy is the process. So, yes, I support the Proud Hour movement, not because the word, but because of the power it represents when reclaimed. Because I refuse to let the slur continue to traumatize the next generation the way it traumatized mine. Because if we do not challenge the system now, our daughters will apparently inherit the same fear we did. And because for the first time, women are choosing their own form of healing. And I will always, always stand with that. And with this, I rest my words. I hope you can maybe decode it to some extent. And if not, that's your take on it, which is again completely fine with me. But again, shaming a woman is always easy because that's how patriarchy has designed our brains. So try seeing beyond that, maybe. And that's it. And if you resonate with my ideas and thoughts, please do like it, drop some comment so we could maybe talk and know more aspects around it, and share it with people you think are going to relate or resonate. And that's it. See you sometime soon. Bye bye.